Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good afternoon to all the viewers. I'm Hiral Dadia. Overall, if you go to see in terms of markets, an interesting day of trade where we've seen a smart recovery that has come in from the day's lowest levels of 19,257 to almost a 19,430 as we speak. Clearly, initially, options were hinting as struggle as Nifty was briefly testing those 9,300 mark. But where from here on is going to be interesting to watch out for because clearly pharma and healthcare, which was up all of these trading sessions, did drop on Friday's session as well. So, what's going to be key from here on and what levels we should be watching out for? Amit Trivedi joins in to get us more. Amit, an interesting day of trade where now we're nearly trading at the day's highest levels, a good recovery coming in from the day's lows in terms of Nifty 50. What levels are you tracking and what's causing this recovery?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. If you look at the Nifty, then overall Nifty lost around 3.7% from the record high. And after falling for the consecutive third week, eventually we saw that Nifty recovered from the levels of 19,300. So the kind of chart setup which I look at and options data, I believe that 19,300, 19,200 could turn out as a immediate support zone. But looking at the on the higher side now, see there are cluster of resistance somewhere near 19,600 to 19,700. So I believe Nifty might consolidate between the band of 19,300 to 19,600.
Okay. And similarly, how are you looking at bank Nifty as well? Because clearly it's the PSU banks which are outperforming, the private sector banks. But overall, there is pressure. We're not seeing much traction in terms of bank Nifty yet.
Now, Bank Nifty continue to underperform because if I look at the Bank Nifty, then from the record high, Bank Nifty lost more than 5%. And even the current levels that required momentum on the higher side is missing in the Bank Nifty. So when it comes to Bank Nifty, I believe somewhere near 45,000, there are the crucial resistance. So minor recovery might be there, but I don't see any major recovery in the Bank Nifty because somewhere near 45,000, there are cluster of resistance. So on stock side, yes, mixed action is possible comparatively positive traction is there in the selected PSU banking stocks. So I believe small caps and mid-sized banks are likely to do well in the coming weeks and even in this week.
Right. Now, coming to individual stock specific action, let's pick up a few of the names in terms of Nifty 50 as well, which are seeing a good recovery. You have the likes of a LTM Mindtree, Infosys, both these counters, which were in the negative earlier during the day, have turned positive. What's your view on the IT space?
Now, see, IT space is comparatively holding ground. In fact, IT index outperformed the benchmark index in the even in the previous week. And if I look at the overall structure of the IT index, yes, gradual outperformance is possible. And when it comes to stocks, yes, LTI Mindtree stands out from this space because LTI Mindtree recently decisively had levels of 5,000. And if I look at the overall structure, then yes, further rally is possible till the levels of 5,400 to 5,500.
Okay. How are you looking at PVR Inox? Because that is seeing some smart moves, long built up seen on this counter as well.
So we saw strong momentum on the PVR and that too on a comparatively higher volumes. So the kind of momentum is built up, I believe 1650, 1640, these are the key support levels, immediate support levels for the PVR. And yes, I believe this ongoing rally in the PVR is likely to continue. On a higher side, further rally is possible till the levels of 1750 to 1780.
Right. Similarly, Aurobindo Pharma as well post earnings is seeing a good long build up in trade today. Along with that, you have names like Reliance Industries, NMDC, as well as the ONGC. All these counters are seeing a long build up. What's your view?
See, from here on, mixed action is possible, as I said, when it comes to stocks. But sector-wise, I believe pharma index is likely to underperform. Now, see, it already moved up significantly in the current year so far. But from here on, I believe selected stocks from the pharma space are likely to underperform. And yes, we might see a stock-specific correction.
Okay. But what should the strategy be according to you with, the other names that we just spoke about? Let's take a NMDC for that matter.
Now, see, for NMDC, now structure is quite stable. And if I look at the overall structure, then yes, upside potential is still there. So somewhere near 115 is the key support for the NMDC. And on the higher side, I see levels of 128 to 135 in fact.
Right. And one stock which is seeing, some bit of pressure in today's session is a Jindal Steel, a bearish setup coming in there. What's your view?
Now, see, first of all, if we look at the metal index, now see the metal index is failing to surpass the levels of Jan 2023. And when it comes to Jindal Steel, now see, we can see a sudden change in the sentiment in the Jindal Steel because on Friday it moved up significantly. In fact, it ended near day's high, but today we can see it, in fact, broke the Friday's low. So I believe it might turn volatile in the near term. Somewhere near 700, 680 is the hurdle zone for the Jindal Steel. And yes, minor correction is possible till 630 to 620.
Right. So that's with regards to Jindal Steel. How are you looking at the metal index as a whole? Because majority of the metal names have been trading under pressure today.
True. So as I said, metal index is failing to surpass the high of Jan 2023. So I believe this recent throwback could lead some amount of consolidation and in fact stock specific correction within the metal space.
Okay. Let's look at names like India Cement as well as the Lotus Labs. Both these counters are seeing longs which are being unwound in today's session. What would the strategy be according to you?
See, comparatively, India cement seems to be a better place because somewhere near 240 was the hurdle, and it decisively break through the two levels of 240. And in fact, today also it defended levels of 240. So, looking at the overall structure, I believe India cement might do well, and on the higher side, 270 to 275. These are the potential targets for the India cement.
Right. How are you looking at a PFC? Because PFC is seeing some bit of short covering that's happening in today's session. What should the strategy be?
Sorry, please come in. Is it PNB or?
PFC. PFC.
Now, see, overall, we saw strong momentum in the PFC. In fact, for the current year so far, PFC is up by 87%. So, yes, minor consolidation cannot be ruled out. We might see a some amount of consolidation, but yes, overall structure remains positive. Somewhere near 250 to 240, these are the buying areas. So, if we get any dip towards the levels of 245 to 240, one can accumulate. Eventually, yes, I'm expecting further upside potential till the levels of 295 to 300.
Right. Amit, apart from the names that we've discussed, anything else that comes to your radar that could be good investment opportunities?
See, traction is there in the selected mid-cap and small caps stocks. So I believe stocks like Indus Tower. Now, see if I look at the structure of the Indus Tower, then it underperforms significantly. But since past few months, okay, you can see it is gradually trending higher. Currently, it is available near the very important support zone of 165 to 170. So risk to reward is quite favorable for the Indus Tower. And any sustenance above levels of 170 will eventually it will attract the upside momentum and we might see a rally till the levels of 200.
Right. How are you looking at a City Union Bank as well as a IDFC First and SBI? If you look at these banks, and if I'm just looking at a Bank of Baroda as well and a SBI, all of these counters are seeing some short positions but that are being built in today's session. What should the strategy be with these individual names?
See, comparatively within the public banking space, if I compare the Bank of Baroda with respect to SBI, now see traction is there comparatively in the Bank of Baroda. Currently, no doubt is going through the corrective phase, but somewhere near 185 to 180, there are cluster of support zone for the Bank of Baroda. So if it is available somewhere near 185 to 180, one can accumulate Bank of Baroda. Because eventually I'm expecting Bank of Baroda to outperform the SBI, and we might see again levels of 210 to 220 on the higher side.
Right. So these are banks that one should be watching out for as well. Thank you, Amit, so much for joining us on the show and sharing those views. So those are individual stocks that have been in focus and interesting moves that we are seeing in the markets as well. A good recovery from the day's low that has come in, which has taken us above those 19,400 levels already. The kind of which were absolutely deep in terms of bank nifty as well. Correction has come in there. We hit a low of around 43,776, but now we're trotting above those 44,000 levels on closing basis as well. In terms of individual stock specific action, IT has come to the rescue. TV's Laboratories has come in, HUL and Reliance, a few of the other names, whereas Adani Enterprises, SBI continues to trade under pressure. Adani Ports trades under pressure. The metal counters have been under pressure as well as we speak. And if you see in terms of the Sensex as well, it seems to be like a positive close in terms of the Sensex. And interestingly, if you see in terms of gainers, GRSE on the back of earnings, 13% move that has come in there. Electra continues the up move. PTC India Limited is seeing some strong moves. MSTC reacting to numbers with cuts of around 10 to 11% coming in there. Nika on the back of earnings trading under pressure, as well as the Finolex Cables is trading under pressure. So that's what the markets are looking like. Thank you, Amit, so much for joining us on the show and sharing those views. And clearly, the pressure has continued today. It's going to be interesting to see, how this kind of up move and the cover up that we've seen in the last hour, whether that continues or not in terms of Wednesday's session. Thank you. Stay safe and speak to you soon again.